Greetings in the precious divine name of the Most High, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Eli, Selassie the First Jah, Rastafari. You're in tune to Ras-Berry Radio 101.1 the best. You're in Thoughts from Andrew Show, the Temple of Enlightenment, and I'm Andrew Tafari. Well, most of y'all have probably heard me already or you know me by now. And I like to reason with you guys and keep you guys informed and enlighten you guys because this is the Temple of Enlightenment. And today I want to talk about influence, inspiration, and performance, and how those things are a big part of our everyday life. So I'll start off with inspiration. I lean towards inspiration more than influence because influence, it can lead you to do a lot of things which you wouldn't normally do. Like, for example, if people influence you to do drugs, like teenagers who, they grew up in a good home, parents teach them not to do drugs, they attend a school where they're taught to stay away from harmful substances, which can lead them to have all sorts of brain disorders and problems. So the influence there, that's where influence is a negative thing because it leads people into things that they wouldn't normally do. Whereas inspiration is something that your environment and your experiences and what you've been through, that's like almost like a engine or a propeller. It propels you to do something. So this is why inspiration is more better than influence. And influence also, influence is a thing that can destroy a whole country if you think about it. Like, for example, third world countries. I'm from a third world country. I'm from Jamaica, right? I was born in Jamaica, grew up in Jamaica. Now the problem, now what led to the downfall of Jamaica? Even though Jamaica is, I don't think Jamaica is on a downfall, but some of the, we have to face the reality because I think the problem is that we hide from the reality, and the reality is that we have issues, in Jamaica and in many countries, and the reason is because of influence, because our leaders, they're too easily influenced by outside forces. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to really be careful and you have to really check the why is this person trying to influence you into doing something. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm the leader of Jamaica, why is America trying to influence me to be capitalist? Why is Russia trying to influence me to be communist? And sometimes when we follow the influence, it leads us to a negative place. So influence is not really a good thing. So we don't really work with influence. We work off of inspiration. And like before, as I was saying, kids who are influenced to do drugs. Well, why do people? Why would a adult or people say to a young child, "Here, try some of this, smoke this," before the child's brain is even developed? Why would they influence them to do that? Because they're trying to make money off of children, which is wrong. You know what I'm saying? So we don't work with influence. We find out what I've found out, and what I've learned over the years is that inspiration is a more pure thing. So like if I'm speaking to you this morning, like last night when I was sleeping, sometimes we have visions in my sleep, and it inspires me to wake up this morning and to speak to you. So it must lead me to a good place, because me speaking to you and sharing these things that I've been meditating about is very, very positive, because I'm pretty sure that many people, I'm not saying that maybe other people thought of this, but maybe there's people out there who haven't thought of this, and this is teaching them something to help them to differentiate between influence and inspiration, right? Because they can be tricky. You know what I'm saying? It can be very tricky. So, and inspiration comes from within yourself. So when you're inspired, you're actually listening to yourself. It's actually your inner self that's directing you. Influence is coming from outside sources. You don't know and you might not know the reason. Where the influence is coming from. Like me being a Rasta. me being a Rasta man, you know, because Rastafari is my way of life, and it's not a religion. It's not anything religious. It's a spiritual way of life, right? Like you don't see my locks because I choose to cover the glory. Cause my locks is actually my crown glory. It's not anything dirty. It's not anything bad. It's not anything nasty. It's my clone. It's my crown glory, right? My crown glory. And people might try to influence me not to live my lifestyle. But why are they influence? Why are they trying to influence me? And how do they influence me not to live my lifestyle? By what? Trying to tell me, oh, it's dirty. Trying to tell me, oh, this will never happen if I look this way. Trying to deny me of a job because of the way I look. That's influence, right? That's influence. But that's what will lead me away from who I am. And if I walk away from who I am, just like with Jamaica, you know, Jamaica has become totally Americanized, capitalized, all of that. Which nothing is wrong with that. But I'm saying if you follow the influence, then you lose your own self, and if you lose your own essence, then what are you? What do you really have? You know what I'm saying? But when you follow the inspiration, you build upon yourself. You know what I'm saying? The inspiration helps you to continue on your mission, like I was talking about the last week, right? Inspiration helps you to build upon that. But inspiration is also something that you have to work on inspiration, because there are things that you have to, in other words, you have to know what inspires you. You know what I'm saying? You have to figure out what really inspires you, right? Because there's some things that will kill inspiration. You know what I'm saying? Like many people think that, oh, because when somebody's in pain, that means they'll be inspired. Like if an artist is in pain, they'll be inspired to write a song. Sometimes that's the complete opposite. Sometimes pain actually decreases the inspiration. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't be careful, it actually opens up for the influence to come in right there. You know what I'm saying? So you have to figure out what inspires you, and also the environment that you're in, because the environment has a lot to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Just like personally, I know it's nice to be on CP24 and to be, in some big studio somewhere, and what I mean, with but personally, this is better, because you know what? I'm inspired here more. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, the pressure of the influence is not there. That's why most people can't go on those shows, and that's why they fumble and stumble, because the pressure, it distracts them, right? Whereas when I'm in this environment, I'm inspired. You know what I'm saying? I'm in an environment now where I don't have a job. I don't know where the money's coming from. You know what I'm saying? So that inspires me to want to speak. That inspires me to want to continue this. So that's where my inspiration is coming from now. And living in a place like this, where I'm renting a room. You know what I'm saying? This isn't my house. I rent a room here. You know what I'm saying? And so these are the things that inspire me. You know what I'm saying? When you live too much of a good life, that also can kill your inspiration. When you become too rich, it's hard for you to speak from the heart. You have to act. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I don't really have to act. I just have to get within myself, and it comes out naturally, because I'm inspired. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference between influence and inspiration. And before I move on to performance, just always remember, think carefully. Is this influence or is this inspiration? And remember, influence comes from outside, inspiration comes from within. And think what inspires you, right? And be careful, because people say, oh, you have good influence and you have bad influence. I don't think there's anything as a good influence. You know what I'm saying? Because anything coming from outside into your inside. If you want to be influenced, then you're gonna have to really sit down and sort through what the person is telling you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you mustn't take advice, because a great general always takes advice. But here's a downfall of many great generals. They don't. It's good to take advice, but you have to know who you're taking advice from. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be taking advice from one of your worst enemies, because our next general can want to defeat you and send one of their advisors to advise you in the wrong way, with the wrong influence. So you see, when it comes to influence, it's very tricky. You have to really suss influence, right? But inspiration come from within you. You don't really have to suss your inspiration, because it's coming from within you, right? So um That's a beautiful thing. That's a difference. That's a beautiful thing about inspiration, and then that's a difficult thing about influence. And also in this time too, before we get to performance, also something to do with inspiration and influence. In the past, people, they it was the whole thing was to work in a group. If you talk to people from the 80s who were like, adults in the 80s or in the 70s, to them, working in a group is a normal thing. Like, if you work by yourself, they look at you as strange or crazy. But you see, we live in a different time. And you see, I have stuff. You see, the problem, with nowadays is that most most adults don't want to teach the kids the history. You know what I mean? And most of these kids, you know, don't look into history. You know what I'm saying? To And this is what I want this next and this generation coming up now, I can see it in them that their roots, their straight roots, I can see it in them already. You know what I'm saying? But my generation and before, they don't like to learn their history. That's why most of them now ending up repeating the same mistakes as what our parents made. Because if you look back in time, and let's use music as an example, when in the 70s you had all these groups, everybody was in groups and bands. But what did it lead to? In the end, it's self-destruct. It's self-destruct. This one, because of what? Influence. You see, they didn't check the difference between inspiration and influence. They didn't take time to study. So the influence came into the group now, right? Because you see, when you do music now, you become a threat, even if you don't mean to be a threat. You become a threat because they know they're saying, well, you have the power to dance the words into the people's mind through music. So what them do now, they want to break up the group. So them can just take your own group member and turn on you, right? And destroy your group because other group members can be easily influenced, right? But if I'm single now in this time, you can't turn me on me. So what angle you have to come and destroy my thing? You can't turn me on me. You know what I mean? And if I create an organization, it is easy for the organization or the group to self-destruct because everybody have a different mind. So how you going to keep that collective together? But me running this show and running it proper like a leader supposed to, and running it a tight ship for sure, you can't really destroy me because you can't turn. I'm not gonna turn on me, and you can't turn me on me. You see? So you see, back in the day, they used to say, "Oh, if you're by yourself, you're weaker." But now it's the opposite. If you're in a group, you're weaker. In this time, if you're by yourself, you're stronger. Just like with marriage, you know what I'm saying? I see people, well, hardly anybody, but there's few people which I'm not saying nothing is wrong with that. If you find a life partner and it works for you, fine. But marriage is a dangerous thing. If you look back in the past, and you look back on our parents' life, you will say, oh, most of our, if you really look at it, most of the people that I knew growing up who were happily in marriage, no, they're not even together. You know what I'm saying? Because no one can stick together forever, and the influence again. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe the woman might be influenced. She might go one night and have a couple drinks, and some guys influence her to have sex, and that break up our marriage. Or the guy might go out and get influenced by girls who come and turn him on, and you see what I'm saying. So those things don't work anymore. It's better to be biased. It's better to be single. I'm not saying you mustn't have friends. I'm not saying you mustn't collaborate with people, but it's better when you collaborate in this time more than you work in a group. A solo career is better. You see what I'm saying? Because group bring too much jealousy, and jealousy is another dangerous thing. The jealousy is the destruction of every great idea or every great concept or every great development. Jealousy and influence. Those are the two things that are the most destructive thing towards those things. So that's all I'm saying. Just think about those things. Once again, this is the Temple of Enlightenment show. Thoughts from Andrew. Right. So it's all about enlightening. Right. Right. This is the Thoughts from Andrew show. The Temple of Enlightenment. So it's about enlightening you. Right. Now we're going to talk about performance and how important performance is. How I've learned when I speak to you, I'm basically telling you what I've learned. And I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. Right? I'm not saying that we can just be a robot and just do things and just be perfect. And I don't think a performance should be perfect because then that wouldn't be a performance. It's like if I'm performing music live, there have to be a little error here or like an error there, but it's not about the error. It's how you can correct the error and how you can make the error flow naturally with what you're doing. Because if you're the leader of a country and you go before another nation and you're representing my people and my nation and you're going up there to blunder and stumble and fumble, then you're making us look ignorant, because if we choose you to represent us and you were going up there to look foolish, then you're making it so that when we go out into the world, people look on us as uneducated, unintelligent. The only thing we can do is work in a warehouse, and that's wrong. And that's why I'm here to change that. You know what I'm saying? Because people need to stop looking on us. And when I say us, I mean from the third world, from Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? People need to stop looking on us as foolish and uneducated and unintelligent, right? And we need to set a better example. And so that's what I'm saying. So if performance is very important, especially as a leader, right? um Entertainment performance is important as well, right? How you present yourself to the people, your aura, all of these things are important. You see, it's not just about people. You see, the thing about it is, you can pay for the exposure, but you can't pay for the brilliant performance. You can't pay. No one can. You can't pay any money to be a brilliant performer. In other words, is what I'm saying. You have to come from within yourself. And I guess with me being all of the things that I've been through and what I'm still going through now, I'm just able to go to that spot more naturally, because I don't even rehearse anything, to be honest with you. This right here is not rehearsed. I didn't even write anything. I can just come from within me. That's how dangerous I am. That's how dangerous I am when it comes to performing, right? Because it's a natural thing for me, it's a natural feeling. You have to can feel it, So maybe somebody who live in a good life, I didn't even have anything to do that, because you have lots of people who are rich and live a good life and are brilliant performance. It have nothing to do that, but it's a matter of fact of how comfortable you are in your own skin, right? Because I'm not getting into the mechanics of performance. I'm talking about the natural, the spiritual side of it, which is what I think most performers nowadays lack. They're too mechanical, even on the radio and on TV. It gives me a headache. You know what I'm saying? How can you be that how can you, there's no, if it, I look back into the 70s. It's so sad that in this time we lose all the good things and continue all of the bad things. The good thing about the 70s, you know what was the good thing about those people of that time? I love the way how natural they were. Go back and study your history, man. Learn from the people before you. Learn about their mistakes. Learn about what made them great, and then incorporate that into yourself and your performance. Because in those times when people used to perform, in whether TV, music, anything, they were more natural, they were more free spirited, they were more, you get more feelings from it. You know what I'm saying? Just be natural. Like I'm talking to you now. Why do I have to come here now and be mechanical and like think about, oh, every word says, like say every word in this way? No, because no one talks like that. You know what I'm saying? Just be regular, just be yourself, be comfortable, you know what I mean? And if I go to CP24 now, or I go to any big studio or any big show in the entire world, there's nobody that can make me get nervous. I don't meet it. There's nobody that can make me get nervous. You understand what I'm saying? Because people don't. I'm not awed by people. You know what I'm saying? Because that person is just a person like me. You know what I'm saying? And if anything, they might be more in awe of me. You know what I'm saying? They might be in awe of me. You know what I'm saying? Because so it's just about relaxing when it comes to performing, relaxing, and don't worry about, oh, if you, because what happened to most people is they're so concentrated and trying to be perfect that if they make one mistake, like I just made a mistake a while ago, but I don't sit there and harp on the mistake. I continue, and that's just like in life. You know what I'm saying? Just let it be natural and let it flow properly. And this is just something nice and spicy today, this conversation that I'm having with you. Just a little bit of inspiration. It's things that I don't think a lot of people think about, but it's very important. Because if even the other day I went for a job interview. No, I didn't get the job, right? But I don't know if it had something to do with my performance. Maybe I need to step up my performance in a job interview scenario, or maybe it didn't have anything to do with that. You know what I'm saying? But it's very important in everyday life. You know what I mean? Everything you do, performance is the key, and you have to can deliver that performance, or this performance, to people, no matter what stage it is. Because I've performed for people everywhere. There's not one place that I haven't lived, that I haven't sung music or perform in some way. I've always been performing. I've always been a performer and doing shows. When I used to raise my goats and would carry them to the agricultural show, that was a show. That was a display. I've always been doing shows. You know what I'm saying? I've sorry, I've been in show business for ever. You know what I'm saying? And I love I love performing. It's one of the most thrilling things, and especially music. I love performing music. I love when I have my guitar and there's like a crowd, and I know I've rehearsed my song and practiced my song, and then the spotlight is right there, and then it's as if I'm singing and the people are there but they're not there, and it's like I'm taking them on a trip and I'm on a trip, and it just and especially when you get into like the middle of the song and it starts to feel like I'm not even playing music. It feels like I'm like up in the sky, or it feels like I'm riding something. It's just the most brilliant feeling, you know what I'm saying? But it takes patience. I worked on my performance when I was living at Lake. I used to live at Lakeshore, and I was by myself. But I didn't. I used to practice music every day. Every day I would sing music and just practice and practice, and it just became a thing where, like, as I said, I could go in front of anybody, and I would just do that too. There was a cafe underneath where I used to live, and people would come there, and I would just perform my music for them. Um, I would go to open mics and just perform. When I'm in Jamaica, I'll go on the beach and bring my guitar. Everybody knows that. Um, I used to go to the beach with my older brother. We used to go to the beach on the weekends and go to parties. But I would always bring my guitar, and they would be off, doing what they're doing, and having their fun. But my fun was to have my guitar, go on the beach, meet people, and perform and entertain them. And that made me become comfortable in my skin, and that made me known. That's why I've been known for music from ever since, because this is what I've been doing. But the point is, practice your performance and focus on making your performance the best performance ever. You know what I'm saying? And performance in any scenario. I know for a fact when I did my job interview, I blew the lady off her feet, because she said at the end of it that was a really brilliant interview. And when I told her about my Earth Music Planet, she said it inspired her to want to go and check it out right now. So I know that my performance was was proper. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes too, when you're a dangerous performer, that can also create a bit of a problem, because sometimes people are fearful. Like if I'm really a brilliant performer, and I go on one of those shows, which, to be honest with you, those shows aren't as the biggest platform right now as the internet. If you're not on the internet, you're nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It's brilliant to be on TV, it's brilliant to be on radio, but the internet is what all those things were. You know what I'm saying? The internet is what all those things were. Right? So if I'm performing on the internet and I'm performing to you right now, then I'm on the biggest platform right there. Right? But as I was saying, it's being a brilliant performer is a detrimental thing, because you see, when you can perform really good and you go amongst other people who've been performing, they feel threatened. They can feel threatened by it, because they might be fearful that I might outshine them, and then that would be the end of their job. You know what I'm saying? So there sometimes when you're a brilliant performer, it can be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because I went to a songwriting workshop, for as an example, and at the songwriting workshop they paired us up, in a group. Everybody was in a group, which is appropriate for that setting, because we did live performances, and also with people perform with their guitars. Now I performed a song which is called No Wars, right? And when our performance was so dangerous, because it wasn't just me; it was me and two other guitarists, and I think a backup singer. I can't remember her name, but she was a backup singer. Anyways, the performance was so dangerous that after I performed, somebody else performed. I can't remember who it was, but the person that performed, and they had totally made a blunder in the middle of their song, and their song was brilliant. And not to discredit them, they're a great performer as well. But the person said to them, "It's tough to follow. It's tough to follow and act like that, because the performance was so, what I mean, it was up there. You know what I'm saying? The energy was up there. The aura was up there. Everything. The words were proper. The words were deep. You know what I'm saying? And so performance is a very, especially live performance, every type of performance, is very important in life. You know what I'm saying? Um, and we're all performers. You know what I'm saying? Because even when you're going to meet a friend, when you're going to meet a friend and you meet up with a friend, most people aren't being there. Most people they're performing. You know what I'm saying? Most people are putting on an act. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're being yourself, it's still an act. You know what I'm saying? Because you change your energy level, you change the tone of your voice, you think about what you're saying, right? Because once you go in front of somebody and speaking in front of people, you're performing. So everybody's performing. So it's important to think about your performance. You have to get your act together, and so, yeah, that's what today's conversation is about. And I hope everyone out there learned something. And I hope today everybody has a wonderful day and stay positive. You know what I mean? Keep your head up. And also, it's no competition. You know what I'm saying? Like I keep saying, it's no rush. You know, it's no competition. And really, really, to tell you the truth, another thing too, before, I've stopped becoming attached to things, just to let you know, because we realize that attachment and connecting yourself to things is another weapon that can be that can be contributed to your downfall. You know what I'm saying? Like, attaching yourself to a woman. Like I don't have a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Because me attaching myself to someone or to something, that's a lot that is allowing them to have a weapon against me. You know what I'm saying? I don't say I don't love people, or I don't say I don't love things, but I don't attach myself to it. And personally, if somebody that I love is doing something great, I'm not gonna hate on them. I'm gonna say cheers, keep on doing what you're doing, and I wish you all the best. You know what I'm saying? So really, there's no competition and there's no rush. What is to be will be, and what is to happen will happen at its appropriate time. And you cannot hold me down forever, and you cannot deny me money forever. You know what I'm saying? At some point, you people gonna have to let me earn my money. And the reason why you don't want me to earn my money is because you see how dangerous I am without the money. And you know that once we have the money, we can help this our community. We can build up a proper, community center with a library, possibly with a recording studio, and possibly we have a radio station already. We just need a physical space and these things, which we need the money to do. And once we have that, say we're gonna be even double dangerous. So because we're already dangerous, so really free us up and just learn something, and don't go back, don't go back to the negativity of the past, right? And Rastafari live, Jah live, Raspberry Radio 101.1 the best. Andrew Tafari, Thoughts from Andrew Show is a temple of enlightenment. Walk with joy and happiness.